People spend hours making vision boards, writing affirmations, and listening to manifestation podcasts. And don't get me wrong, if those things help you, that's amazing. But I genuinely think the most powerful manifestation tool has been sitting quietly on our bookshelves this entire time. Every new book that you read changes something in you. It changes the way you think, the way you make decisions, the standards that you set for yourself, and eventually the life that you create. So, today I want to talk about why I believe books are one of the most underrated manifestation tools. Not because they magically attract things into your life. No, I'm not saying that. But because they slowly transform the person who's trying to create that life. So personally, I want to share this that a few days ago, I just was cleaning my bookshelf and I noticed something that I had never paid attention before to. So every phase of my life was sitting there on that bookshelf. The phase where I became obsessed with psychology because I wanted to understand why people think the way that they do. Then there was that productivity phase where every other book promised better habits, better focus techniques, better discipline. And after that came a phase of personal finance where I was reading a lot of investment books and biographies. And then currently I am in my thriller book obsession. Strangely, it wasn't just a collection of books, it was a timeline of the person that I was becoming. And that's when one thought hit me. Maybe we just don't choose books. Maybe the books quietly choose the next version of what we are becoming. So I think manifestation is often misunderstood. Somewhere along the way, it became all about asking the universe about something, repeating affirmations, and imagining your dream over and over and over again. And while there's nothing wrong in those practices, and I believe they do work for some people, I've always felt that manifestation starts somewhere much, much, much simpler. It starts with your thoughts, guys, because your thoughts are what shapes your decisions, and your decisions become your habits, and your habits, they eventually become your life. So if that's true, then changing what goes into your mind every single day is one of the most powerful things you can do, and that's exactly what books do. So now think about it, how much content we consume every single day. Random videos, we read tweets, then there are threads, Instagram, and the next thing, in every few seconds we are consuming a lot of content and we absorb nothing. Books are different. A good book asks you to stay there for hours and reflect and question yourself, and sometimes even disagree with the writer. That kind of deep engagement changes you in a way that a 30-second reel can never do. So now imagine two people, okay? One person spends 30 minutes every single day watching motivational videos about success. This other person spends those very 30 minutes every day reading books about investing, psychology, and long term wealth. After a year, who do you think is going to be more likely to make better financial decisions? It's probably the person who stayed motivated or whose understanding had changed. So motivation fades, but knowledge stays. Books don't make you feel inspired for a day. They give you ideas. They stay with you for a longer time. So the same thing happens with confidence as well. So most people, I think, confidence comes from positive thinking, but I think that confidence also comes from knowledge and understanding. So when you read about psychology, communication, even the lives are of extraordinary people, you slowly begin to understand yourself a little bit better. Even fiction has this incredible ability to change us. Some of the most valuable lessons I have learned have not come from self help books but from fiction. Like Harry Potter, he taught me not to give up on anything and keep fighting. So, I think every story lets you experience another person's life, and every life leave something behind. And that's why I never think of fiction as just entertainment. A thriller also teaches you to notice details, Historical fiction teaches you a new perspective. Literary fiction teaches you empathy. Fantasy expands your imagination. So every genre changes something inside you, and even if you don't notice it immediately, the best books don't simply entertain you for a few days. They quietly become a part of the way that you think. And a while ago, I stopped asking myself, what should I read next? Instead, I have started asking a different question altogether. Who do I want to become next? That is the question that completely changed the way that I buy books. I wanted to become financially smarter. I naturally reached out for books that were about investing. If I wanted to communicate better, I looked for books written by great communicators. And if I wanted to become more creative, I read more fiction. And suddenly, my reading wasn't random anymore. So every book became a small investment in the person that I wanted to become. And I also think we underestimate how much our environment shapes us. So we spend time choosing wallpapers on our phones, we are decorating our homes, we are organizing our desks, and we are curating our social media profiles, but we rarely think about our mental environment. What ideas are entering your mind every single day? What conversations are you having with the authors that you're reading? Because every idea you repeatedly consume slowly becomes a part of your thinking, and your thinking eventually becomes your reality. So, here's a little experiment I would love for you to try. Now, think about one thing that you genuinely want over the next year. Maybe you want a bigger home, maybe you want to become healthier, maybe you want to build a business or write a book or become financially independent or improve your relationships or simply be more at peace. Now that version of you who has already achieved that goals walks into a room and looks at their bookshelf. What books do you think are sitting there? Those are probably the books you should start reading now, today. I think that's the real power of books. They don't magically manifest opportunities, money, confidence, or success. What they do is something even more valuable. They help manifest a different version of you. So, a version that notices opportunities instead of problems, a version that makes wiser decisions, and a version that thinks differently, acts differently, and even lives their life completely differently. And it's no magic, it's transformation one chapter at a time. So, the next time you're standing in a bookstore or scrolling through Kindle looking for your next read, don't just ask yourself what's trending or what's the other person reading. Ask yourself, what do I want to become? Because sometimes the next chapter you read isn't just a story, it's the beginning of a completely different version of your own life. Now, before you go, I would love to know your answer to one question. If you could read just one book that would help you shape the next version of yourself, which book would it be? And let me know in comments, because I'm always looking for new recommendations and I am sure that everyone else reading the comments is too. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And every week I talk about books, and not just stories, but also tools that can change the way we think, we read, we live. And until then, happy reading. Thank you for watching. Bye.